Hello everyone, Tac1421 here. Welcome back to another Pokemon TCG online gameplay commentary. Today I have a pretty fun little game where I was using a little Pokemon called Dustox, which you probably have never heard before. And that's probably for good reasons, because it's not that great of a Pokemon. Now, I've always liked the looks of it. I've always liked the concept of Dustox, but realistically, it's never been a kind of Pokemon that I could ever really put into a deck and actually play competitively. Now, this deck that I put together isn't that great of a deck, but it's very, very fun to play, and I don't really suggest playing it anytime soon, but it is pretty darn fun. So right there, Wurmple actually has an attack for 1 energy where if you hit heads or something like that, you get like you put them to sleep and you poison them or something. I forget exactly how it works. It's basically like a laser, but you have to flip, and if you get heads, you basically put them to sleep, poison them. I hit tails. I also hit tails on the laser, so he's actually going to be able to geomancy and all that fun stuff. But regardless, I'm going to get Dustox in play. Now, Dustox is the main stable card in this deck and how it kind of functions. And you may have noticed there, Dustox for 1 energy, it has Hazardous Scales. The defending Pokemon is now asleep, burned. What, I don't know what I'm trying to say. Burned and poisoned. So, asleep, burned, poisoned. 3 different special conditions all put into one. And the reason why this is pretty good is because there's a new Pokemon out there, thanks to Flash Fire, where it's called Dragalge, I think is the pronunciation, and it reads that you can't your opponent's it's an ability. Your opponent's active Pokemon, if they're poisoned, they can't retreat. So your opponent's poison Pokemon can't retreat. So essentially, what you try to do with this deck is you try to get the Dragalge, you can see I just got it right there, you try to get it into play as soon as possible, and then you just hit Hazardous Scales over and over and over again on your opponent and hope they can't retreat somehow. If they're poisoned, they can't retreat, but if they have like a switch or something like that, they can retreat. Also, you can evolve a Pokemon and then they can retreat because all the special conditions go away. So there's a lot of different ways you can get out of it, which is why this deck isn't that great. Now, if there's no switches in play or anything like that, it would be great. But also we also have Keldeo and stuff like that. So that's why this deck isn't that great. But right here, it's actually working pretty well. So you can see I'm actually going to get a Lysander into play. And now the reason why I do this is pretty simple. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to basically catch up some Pokemon that can't really do that much damage to me, and then I'm just going to keep on poisoning them and putting them to sleep and burning them, and then I'll spread the damage around with my Dusknoir. I run a 2-2 Dusknoir line, and it's pretty solid. You can see I got the town map, so I can see my prizes, and unfortunately the Vernbank City Gym is prized. I do run 2. We're going to have to see if I can get another one to play. That's going to be my first priority, is to get that into play. Second priority is probably getting another Dustox into play. I do have a rare candy prized, but I play a 4-2-3 line, I believe, of Dustox. So there's many different options to get my Dustox into play. I already have another Psychic Energy on Dustox. Now, Dustox does have another attack. You never really want to use it, per se, but it does add some more damage. But the thing that we're trying to do with this deck is we're trying to basically keep something active, in this case the Aromatisse, and just hopefully he cannot retreat somehow, and then just spread the damage with Sinister Hand with Dusknoir around to like his Yveltal or his Terrakion, things that are going to be trying to do damage to me, and just spread the damage around evenly. Burn, how burn works, for those of you who do not know, because you don't really see burn too often. In between turns, you flip a coin. If you get heads, if your opponent gets heads, nothing happens. If they get tails, they get 2 damage put on them. So we're going to try to hit tails as much as possible. We want them to hit tails as much as possible. Also, the tails helps because they stay asleep. So as many tails as they possibly get is going to help us win the game. So that's basically what we're trying to do. Now, I only play 7 Psychic Energies in this deck, so We're probably not going to want to attach anymore if we get any to Dustox. We probably don't want to use the second attack because we're just going to try to keep on putting the damage onto the Aromatisse and then putting it onto different things. Aromatisse definitely can play Max Potion. It's very, very common for it to play Max Potion. So we want to try to spread the damage out as much as possible. And in this case, I'm not really spreading the damage around that much because he has a lot of different energy on his Yveltal that he's going to have to discard if he chooses to play Max Potion. You see the DCE. He also has like different things like electric energy and things that he can't be moved around with Aromatisse's ability. Aromatisse can only move around the fairy energies. As you can see there, I actually get 2 achievements where I've actually put Pokemon to sleep 6 times and I've burned my opponent 6 times. So I get those 2 achievements there. And he does stay asleep, which is great. Aromatisse, his attack can only do 60 damage, so I'm really not worried. I can easily take 2. But what I need to do as fast as possible is get another Dustox into play. So definitely want to try to do that. Now I can knock out the Aromatisse whenever I want, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep it active and just kind of go from there and leave him poisoned and hopefully asleep and burned. So I do get the second stage, or the first stage of Dustox, which I forget the name of it. It doesn't really do much. It doesn't have a great attack or anything like that. It's just in there so that I can set up Dustoxes, more Dustoxes, and make it more consistent. So again, going to spread the damage around. I'm not going to use the Tool Scrapper or the Megaphone because there's no really point to doing so. He's not really threatening me with much right now, and if he ever puts a Muscle Band onto his Aromatisse, that's where I'm going to want to use the Megaphone to get rid of something that might knock me out. Because right now the Aromatisse is not very threatening at all. Even if he does knock me out, I'm going to have another Dustox to put in play. So that is that. Now this deck can easily take 6 prizes in 1 turn. Obviously I'm not going to do that this game because I already took 1 prize early on the game. I didn't really want to take the prize early in the game because I wanted to move the damage around to other things, but I wasn't able to get the Dusknoir into play fast enough. Now I do get a Juniper from that N, so I'm probably going to Juniper next turn unless I draw something else that would really hurt my chances of winning if I Junipered it away. So we'll have to see what I top deck. But he misses. He doesn't get burned both times, which is kind of annoying. I was going to be able to knock out the Yveltal if he did get burned at least once, because Yveltal has 170 HP, and right now I have 160 in play. So if he did manage to get burned one of those 2 times that he flipped the coin, then I would have been able to knock him out, but we're going to have to wait until the next turn to do so. Hopefully he doesn't have Max Potion. I did end him, so might have been a little bit of a misplay ending him because he didn't Max Potion last turn, so chances are that he wouldn't have had it in the turn later. But I haven't seen any Max Potions at all anyway, so he might not even play them. So we'll have to see. So yeah, so things are looking pretty good. I do get a Colress into my hand, which is nice because then I can Colress next turn. He manages to stay asleep for like the 3rd consecutive turn, which is really helpful. It's not going to really matter too much in the long run because I did have another Dustox on my bench, but we're going to be able to knock out the Yveltal this turn when he stays asleep too, which is kind of funny. It didn't really matter because I was going to put him back to sleep anyways. But I'm going to go ahead and Colress for 8 cards, which is nice. I get another Wurmple into play. I'm going to knock him out mid-turn, which means I can actually get the Verbank City Gym in play, and then it'll just kind of stack more damage, and then I'll be able to win in 2 turns, regardless of what he can do at this point. So, unless, of course, he plays Max Potion, and then he Max Potions them away, but it doesn't appear that he's doing that. So, there we go. I'm going to keep on Sinister in hand, and now this game did take like 28 minutes, which is why I am fast-forwarding it, most of it. And in real life, I don't think it would take as long. It's just Sinister Hand with Dusknoir is one of the most just annoying cards to both play against and play with in this game. And so there I do put down the Verbank City Gym. Now this is going to mean that I can actually put 4 more damage on the field each turn. I have to be careful though, because if he does manage to hit burn twice in one turn, then he's actually going to die, which I don't want to happen. I want his Aromatisse to stay alive, so I can put as much damage as possible onto other things in play. But really, it doesn't matter too much at this point. Even if he does knock out my Dustox, he's only taking 1 prize, and by the time that he knocks out 2, I'll have another one in play. I have another one in play on the bench already ready to go. I can easily get another one if I wanted to by skyling and also computer searching, which I'm probably going to do, I think, this turn. Unless, okay, I do get the Pal Pad. I'm going to Pal Pad Lysander and Colress. Just in case he dies, I can always Lysander up the other Aromatisse and just continue the process. So I'm going to Sinister Hand everything from the Aromatisse onto the Terrakion and the Skarmory. But the Skarmory doesn't have any energy on it, so I mean, it doesn't really matter because of the fact that he has Aromatisse. But for the most part, you want to spread the damage around to everything in play. If he does knock out my Dusknoir somehow, which I don't see happening in the near future at all, then we might have a problem, because I haven't been able to even see any other Dustoxes and Dusknoirs that I have in my deck. I've just been missing them somehow. But we haven't really needed them anyways, so that's fine. So yeah, I'm going to be able to win next turn. He is going to forfeit, realizing that he can't really do anything at all. But that is Dustox for you, and you'll see here on the stats, I thought this was hilarious. He hit 7 heads and 16 tails, which is really funny because he hit a little more than twice as many tails, which really helped me out that game because it just adds more damage. And you can see all the achievements that I got. But that is Dustox for you. I do hope you guys enjoyed. And I don't recommend playing this deck competitively, but it is a really fun deck to play. Really annoying for your opponent to deal with. And I hope you guys enjoyed. So I'll see you next time. Peace.